very soon. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being part of our Genius community. We are back on Mondays at 10 o'clock. We're going to keep it that way. So thank you so much for being part of our Genius community. We are going to talk about the heart and circulation. So thank you so much for tuning in. We got a good presentation for you today. Thank you everybody who's taking time to join us. This is also a time for you to ask your questions, and we do get really good questions. The questions we really can't answer are sort of technical support questions, but anything else, you're more than welcome. You may be tapping into the Genius and noticing that you might get Genius app not available. That only happens if you have not checked in on your Genius for some time. And then go to geniusbiofeedback.com, go to the Learn menu, and you can find our reinstall links. The iOS or Apple App Store does not have the Genius available, so you won't find it there. You'll have to go to geniusbiofeedback.com, go to Learn, and you'll find the section for our reinstall links where you can reinstall right there from our website. So I want to warmly welcome you. Please go ahead and share your information in the chat. Feel free to say hello to people in the chat. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this. Some people may have not got the message that we're back on Mondays, but we are back on Mondays for quite some time, for the foreseeable future, to sort of get more people. It seems like Monday we were a lot better attended, so we're going to switch back to our Monday date and we'll just make it work as it is. So I really appreciate you being here. My name is Ariel. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I've been teaching and training about the Genius for 10 years now, and it's my great pleasure. I never get tired really of teaching about biofeedback because there's always something more to discover, and it's a truth revealing process. You can learn about yourself instead of somebody who's, has to, you don't have to go to somebody who has so much education and it costs you so much to go there. You can learn this information yourself, help yourself. Check in with a professional maybe once in a while to get a personal opinion. Otherwise, learn to help yourself. Learn about natural health. That's a lot of the courses that we have here. We're going to have a new course that's going to help you to help your clients in teaching them a wellness lifestyle. That's the new platinum level professional practitioner course that's coming up. I'm going to be telling you more about that probably starting sometime this week. It is our next level practitioner-based course. We're going to teach you skills for you to educate your client, give them a class that will be part of how you help them, and then also the biofeedback skills that you need to help them. The impetus for this class is that if we're helping people with biofeedback, but their lifestyle, they're still putting poisonous things into their body, they're not going to have the lasting effects of biofeedback that we want. And so I'm going to teach you to teach them and help you with different handouts, educational classes. So you could hold a group class and have people coming in and out of your group class as you're helping them as an individual client. You can teach them, we're going to essentially call it the principles of detox, but this detox plan will be sort of a ruse to get them into a better lifestyle. But when we call it a detox, they feel it's for a short amount of time. That's the amount of time it takes them to get better. And I'm going to teach you all of that in our new platinum level class. Now, more about that coming up. But for right now, let's get into our class for this week. I'm also here to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about the Genius, I will look at those questions and see if I can answer them for you today. We'll also talk about the heart. Now, the heart information comes from practitioner level 7. Practitioner level 7 and all the other practitioner levels are going to be given a discount for the next couple of weeks. And you can view our past classes at geniusbiofeedback.com. Go to the deals menu. And you can look at all of our practitioner level classes. And you can, if you'd like to get any of the practitioner levels that we have pre-recorded for your download, you can use Learn 25 for a 25% discount on one or any of the bundles that we have. 25% discount on the courses. Okay, so a couple of things. Let's see what you've got here. Cheryl, warm welcome to you. All right, and greetings from Nevada. Thank you so much. And Charleston checking in. Charleston is a beautiful place. Thank you for sharing that with us, and everybody can check in from where they are. We really appreciate it. All right. So weekly training is now on Mondays. Anybody can come to weekly training, so please invite your friends who might be interested in the Genius and learning more about the Genius. They can come 10 o'clock on Mondays, Pacific time. That's 1 o'clock Eastern time, just like you're here now. We're going to continue with this Monday time. Seem to be a lot more popular, getting a lot more people. We just want to get people live to learn about the Genius. You know, it's so rare to have a quantum biofeedback program where you can work with people on a regular basis. You can come to live training, learn with us, ask your questions. So you can go to biofeedback. Biofeedbacksuccess.com is not a website, it's just a shortened link. So if you go to biofeedbacksuccess.com and then /weekly training, anybody can get the link to our Zoom training. Come here, watch it on my YouTube channel at you just go to Ariel Policano on YouTube and you can find the teachings there. And we're here every week. This makes it a live experience. It makes it an ongoing experience. And you can always drop back into training. You can catch up on YouTube. I think that this makes the Genius really, really powerful, that we just don't like give you a Genius and disappear. We're here for you. And this is a live, growing profession. So once again, we are having also a live training, like a Genius training event that I am teaching in Scottsdale from October 28th to the 29th, or October 28th, Saturday and Sunday. Make it super simple, but you're going to get so much out of this class. We're going to, really start right on time. We're going to go the whole day, take a lunch break, but there's going to be a lot that we're going to be accomplishing in this class. So come to learn, come to accomplish, come to leave the training feeling confident. This is something you cannot get in a video download. That's why we are creating the live training. We have lots of video downloads. I have lots of video training. But if you want to get results, you have to, we've often said in Naturopathic College, we said, see one, do one, teach one. See one, do one, teach one. We have to get hands-on. As you go through hands-on sessions at the training, you're going to develop a new confidence. So I am going to lead you through this, and then I'm going to have you break out into groups and pairs, and you're going to do this and work with each other, work with the group, work with a buddy system. And as you go through the session, it's going to really give you the opportunity to learn this in a new way. And then you'll be able to see when you're doing it in our group where you get stuck, where you don't understand, where you're not putting the pieces together. So this is going to be a wonderful opportunity. We're only going to do the didactic sort of learning about the basics of the Genius for one part of the training. The rest is going to be interactive, although I'm happy to clear up any things that you don't understand. So this is really a hands-on training. You cannot get this in any of the video downloads. It's going to be something that is experiential, and that's why we're doing this type of a training. So this training, you have plenty of time to get your flight. It's very easy to fly into Phoenix. This training center, it's at a hotel. So our training room is located in the hotel. We have a hotel discount, and it's on the website. If you go to Success Training at geniusbiofeedback.com, you can find the link. There's early bird pricing. You can stay at the hotel for a discount. We have a special room rate. And all you need to do then is just get from the airport to the hotel, and everything else is going to be just right there at the hotel. We will help to coordinate rides. We will help to coordinate rooms. We're more than happy to do that. And you get to connect with people, make friends for life. We're going to be focusing on, there's certain words I can't say, but you guys know viruses and that thing. We're going to focus on that, and shedding. And we're going to focus on what to do in cold and flu season, because that's coming up again. October is going to be leaning into right the beginning of the winter cold and flu season. We're going to talk about stem cells and anti-aging. We're going to talk about a detoxification process, balancing for pain issues, hormonal harmonizing, really the heavy hitters that clients come in with all the time. They want to do this, they want to do this. Those are the things that I know that you struggle with, that I want to put a process into your hand. Here's how to do this. We're also going to be sending each other frequencies in the Quantum capsule, seeing what the results are from the Quantum capsule. We're going to be doing remedy plate strategies, where you're going to be making remedies and imprinted material media right on site. I'm going to be giving you some of those in your swag bag, some media to take and run with and use during our class. So these classes are fun, they're interactive, they're incredibly practical. And my intention is that I have information for you to go out and use on Monday morning. So I think, or maybe the plane ride home, you're going to really love it. And we'll have some prizes and giveaways as well. So let's go ahead and just remind you, you can sign up at geniusbiofeedback.com. Just look for Success Weekend. And we do have some people signing up. Now, we've only reserved a certain size room. We have a limited amount of participants. So if you think that you're going to want to go, you better sign up as soon as possible, because we may have to close the training after it gets full. All right, so let's go ahead and keep rolling here. I also want to let you know about some new libraries that we have available. So we have libraries on plantar fasciitis. We have one called Powerful Results Now, about removing obstacles to manifesting your dreams. We have another one called POTS, which is positional orthostatic tachycardia. We have libraries on myocarditis. We have some libraries that give you microcurrent frequencies used in microcurrent. We have an insulin resistance harmonizing program, and we have an autoimmune advanced harmonizing. There's actually a lot of autoimmune diseases. I'm sure you can't imagine why autoimmune diseases are becoming epidemic right now. So we have a library for that. We also have one called Vitality Restoration Tools, and that is for people who did the experiment, let's say, or are around people who did the experiment. It's for both of those groups. And it helps, it just puts everything into one library. So if you've ever struggled with vClear or vShed being separate libraries, we've taken those libraries and then we've even put more tools and remedies into the Vitality Restoration Tools. So these are the newest and latest libraries that are available at geniusbiofeedback.com. All right, today's focus is all about heart and circulatory issues. So the circulatory system is not exactly what meets the eye, and I want to talk to you about that. This is an excerpt of the training that we covered in Practitioner Level 7, which is our Heart Health Mastery series. So whether you have it and you want to refresh your information after this class, go back to your learning portal and look at this information, or you may want to get this module, or you may want to get the whole series. Now we're doing a 25% discount on the series through August 21st. You can use the code LEARN25 at checkout in order to get this particular series. Now, why is this series special? Let's talk about it, because we talked in the series about the heart as a physical pump, and you get to learn all about how it works and what you need to do to keep the heart healthy. And that's what it really takes. I've heard a great quote lately that says, we fail for lack of knowledge. And that's really true in the area of health. If everybody understood how viruses are transmitted or not transmitted, we never would have had the issue that we had in the past couple of years. If everybody really understood how the heart worked and how the endothelial lining worked, there's so many things that people would do differently. And probably there would be no need for blood pressure medication or cholesterol medication, but most people do not understand how their heart works. And so that's what we took the time to explain in easy to understand words so that you could get it and use it for yourself and your family. And that's what we do in these practitioner courses. So is the heart merely a pump? And how would that pump work? Is it an electrical power station? We pick up electricity on an EKG. There's a tremendous amount of electrical activity in the heart. And how in the world does it send blood from this pump in the middle of the chest all the way down to your little tiny toes and get the capillaries and the tiniest capillaries to your kidneys and to your eyes? How in the heck does that work with just a pump? It turns out from the laws of physics that this isn't possible through just a pump. And it's pretty funny that our whole basis of science is based on this idea of heart as pump. And we've forgotten some other important things to consider. All right, so what we say is that the heart is a pump. It sends blood all over the body. The body is using blood, fluid, not just because, hey, we need blood. Why do we need blood? Because blood carries oxygen and all of your nutrition. So we need all of that blood to circulate and to be delivered all to every single cell in the body. So even the cell that is connected to the tiniest little blood vessel called the capillary, that must be reached. And really, when you start to get heart damage, when you start to get circulatory damage, that means atherosclerosis, the different foods that cause the nitrous oxide to be blocked, to not to be produced, then you get lower and lower circulation in all of these places. And it takes place in a very small way over time until it builds up to a higher level of chronicity. And then that's when people have impaired thinking. That's when they have impaired breathing, or that's when it's just the blood isn't getting to your kidneys or your liver as it needs to. So the most important thing that you can do is keep this circulatory system very clean. How do you do that? We can explain. And why does it benefit you to do that? Because you can get the oxygen all over your body for an entire lifetime. Now, the heart is not just a pump. As I said, the heart is a powerful energy field, and that field is called the toroidal field. This is a field of self-perpetuating energy that we understand on such a small basis today, but this is the basis to something called free or self-perpetuating energy, which hopefully in this lifetime we will all learn about. The toroidal field around your heart is stronger than the electrical field around the brain. Let that sink in for a moment. It helps to create coherence in the body. Whatever your heart is vibrating at, every single organ in the body will try to line up and let the heart lead the vibration. In other words, if you meditate and you calm down and you think loving thoughts, your heart moves into an optimal state of frequency called coherence. It's the best frequency your heart could be. And then all the other organs in the body begin to follow this frequency. So meditation improves that frequency, thinking loving thoughts, being out in nature, and then the whole body follows suit. So the heart is incredibly powerful. Now, the heart is not just a toroidal field, but there are places within the physical heart that act as a vortex. And there are many of them. So in the plural, we call this the vortices. So there are vortices or vortexes all over the body. There are energy flows, these powerful flows of energy, just like you go to Sedona or some of these places around Machu Picchu and you feel all this energy coming from the earth. There are special places that act similarly all over your body. And particularly the heart itself is this main vortex. In other words, there are properties of energy that flow through the body to help to circulate the blood that are beyond just the pump. And this was written about even by Leonardo da Vinci in his pictures of the heart, showing all the energy flows or the vortices within the heart. So this is another depiction of the heart as a vortex. It makes more sense that it is our spirit. It is part of the chi, is part of the natural sort of inexplicable energetics of the human body that carries all the blood through the tiniest capillaries, that it is not just what we see with our eyes, that it is so much more. We do see the heart, we do know that it pumps, we do know that the body doesn't work when the heart doesn't pump, but it must be so much more than the simple pump. It's the energetics around the heart that we're interested in. And energetics is something that is affected by frequency. So we can use the genius to affect this frequency. We can use our thoughts, we can use intention, we could use meditation, we could use relaxation, we can use words and affirmations. All of these things could affect the frequency of the heart, which may be the biggest predictor of whether the person is healthy or not. Also, Rudolf Steiner, if you've ever read the works of anthroposophical medicine and Rudolf Steiner, this is fascinating information. If you've never read it, look it up and start to read some of these teachings that he had. He said in 1932, Bremer of Harvard filled the blood in the very early embryo circulating in self-propelled mode in spiraling streams before the heart was beating, before it was functioning. So these energetic centers of the heart, these vortices, are functioning even before the physical heart is beating and perhaps regulating some of the energy of the embryo. In terms of capillary flow, the heart is forcing blood with a viscosity five times greater than water through millions of capillaries with diameters often smaller than the red blood vessels themselves. Is this possible only with a pump? So the circulatory system is a whole series of these vortices, and the vortex pulses radially and longitudinally, and the blood has its own biological momentum, which is boosted by the heart. So it's so much more than we're just seeing with our eyes. As the heart, when the heart begins to function, it enhances the blood's momentum with spiraling impulses. That's what we saw in the Da Vinci pictures. When the heart begins to function, so it's vortex, but then embryologically, it's flowing motion, it's spiraling motion, but then the heart comes in, sort of adds or props up this motion, enhances it. When the heart begins to function, it enhances the blood, which already has the momentum, with spiraling impulses. And we imagine this is generated from that vortex within the heart. The arteries provide assistance by providing spiraling boosts to the circulating blood. So you think about the Sufi dancers and all that spiraling energy. There's a whole lot of spiraling going on that is so much more than the actual pump itself, okay? So there's a lot more going on within the heart. Arteries dilate to receive incoming blood and deliver an impulse to increase the blood's momentum. The heart's electrical field is about 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity generated by the brain. So this is an incredible thing to think about. Your heart has stronger 60x electrical activity in your brain. What does that say about how we should propel ourselves through life, right? Should we think with our heart in order to know what's going on, in order to move our intention out into the world, or should we only think with our brain, which seems to have limited capacity? Okay, the magnetic fields, then there's EMF, electromagnetic properties, right? Electromagnetic fields, not just electricity. The electricity is 60x, but the magnetic fields produced by the heart, this toroidal field, are 5,000 greater than the field generated by the brain. That's interesting. And this beautiful field envelops every cell of the human body, this electromagnetic field, and extends out all around us. So we're kind of walking around with that beautiful toroidal field. Now, we're not going to talk as much, or maybe just briefly, about the heart. Now, we get into all the physiology and anatomy of the heart in the practitioner program. What is really cool about that is when I went into naturopathic college, so I went to a 4-year clinical rotation naturopathic medical school. What was really cool about that is I always wished that I could have somebody who could teach me the basics of how the body works in plain language. And then I got to understand that as a naturopathic doctor. And now I explain it to you in these simple terms so you could really understand how your body works. That gives you a huge advantage in making decisions to care for yourself and to help other people to be well. So the heart actually has 4 chambers, and you're seeing the 4 chambers here. It has the left atrium, the right atrium, and then it has these ventricles, the left ventricle and the right ventricle. And these ventricles receive blood, deoxygenated blood from the heart, and then they also, or reoxygenated blood, and then they receive deoxygenated blood that has been flowing around the body. And then there's always an exchange of fluids. So the heart is pumping deoxygenated blood into the lungs to be reoxygenated, and then it's taking the reoxygenated blood and then pumping it out through the atrium, through the major artery, the major artery of the body, the aortic artery, and then pumping it to the rest of the body. So that's an amazing thing. Every time your heart beats, that process is happening again. We're sending deoxygenated blood to the heart. We're sending oxygenated blood into the circulation to the rest of the body. So that happens over and over and over again. And it takes place initially within these 4 chambers of the heart, which are these muscular places that build pressure. The pressure builds up and it gives it that pressure in order to propel it to its destination. So we talk more about the specifics of that and why that's significant in the practitioner level 7 class. So I'm not going to go through that right now, but we know now that the heart is a pump and the heart is more than just a pump. And then I'll talk a bit more about this as we go through some testing. Just some statistics here. The heart beats 100,000 times a day, which is hard to imagine. And it pushes 5,000 gallons of blood through the body every 24 hours. Again, just another thing that you just think, how is this even, possible? You're not even thinking about it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be. That is just absolutely amazing. So we won't go through that right now, but we will show some places in the Genius where you can work on the circulation and talk about some easy processes that you can do for circulation within the main part of the Genius. And then we'll also go to some of the libraries. So if somebody would like to volunteer, maybe somebody who's never had a scan before, just go ahead and put your name and date of birth into the chat area and we can work with you. We can do a scan. And also, we'll talk more about the study. We have just completed compiling data for our Genius Biofeedback research study, and we have completed the data up to week 5. So we've completed all the scores of people who are submitting their questionnaires. People are running their Genius for 15 minutes every single day. Thank you, research participants, and filling out a questionnaire 1 time per week. And in the time that they have been filling out their questionnaire, the average improvement, so if they start off with a score of 200, these are all my symptoms tallied out. I have back pain, I have trouble sleeping, I have hormonal imbalances, I've got blood sugar issues. That started off for most people at an average score of 200. After 5 weeks overall, on average, with some variation from person to person, I'm happy to report that after week 5, we are at an average score of 100. We have literally gone from 200 points of scoring in expressing how much people are suffering to a score of 100, looking at a 50% improvement from running the Genius 1 time per day for 15 minutes. Now, we're not done with the study yet. We're going to keep going. Thank you to all our participants. We're going to have a big meeting with our participants and then with our general, community to let you know this, and then also give you ways that you can help to explain this to other people that yes, using the Genius on a regular basis really does make a powerful difference. So let's see if we have a volunteer to talk more about the heart. And thank you to everybody who's joining today. And thank you for coming back for your training on Mondays. We really, really appreciate it. So Laura, thank you so much for volunteering. Laura, would you do me a favor and just make sure you can find your camera or your microphone to join us? And if you don't want to be on camera, that's fine. If you can, we love it. We'd love to get to talk with you about how things are going with your Genius. And thank you. You are part of our study, and we really appreciate you being part. So thank you for being such a wonderful part of our Genius community. We have the best people in the world in our Genius community, and it's really amazing. Like, I feel extremely honored to be a part of this community of really passionate users. So thank you very, very much. And in just one moment, we're going to bring you up here as a panelist, and I'm just getting you set up on the Genius here. So let's go ahead and talk with you more. And we'll also take your questions. So Audra, I know you always have questions. Anybody else, welcome to Alaya is here, Justina is here, Lori, welcome. Let's go ahead and find Laura B and bring her up here to do some Genius work. Libby, thank you so much for being here. Marjorie, warm welcome. Stephen, glad to have you here. Tammy B, good to have you here. And so when Laura's ready, Laura, you can join us here. We're going to get your voice and your picture in just a moment. So let's see if you're ready to join us here. See what we've got going on. All right, so Laura, when you're ready, then we'll have you join us here and we'll get your voice and picture. How are you?
I'm fine. Can you see me?
Um, Not just yet. There you go. Okay,
Can you
Laura,
try?
welcome to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes, we can. So how long have you been using your Genius for?
Um, I think I'm on year 3.
Okay. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Now, do you use it for yourself? Do you use it for your family? And do you use it for any clients?
I do use it for myself, my family mostly. And my clients seem to be more of friends and it goes 24 hours a day. My Genius never stops running. So people
That's
call me all the
amazing.
time and tell me to put them in the cooker, and I do.
That's really lovely. Such a great use case for the Genius that people are responding to it and saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
can you go ahead and run your Genius for me? I really need it for this particular reason." That's
It's
really
wonderful.
all right. Well, I'll go ahead and record your voice. So in just
Super.
a moment, I'll go ahead and record your voice. I will start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
Laura Jean Brewster Burns, AEIOU, AEIOU, Laura Burns, AEIOU, AEIOU.
In my head, I must already be calculating the 15 seconds. I knew just when it was done. Okay, we're going to get your picture in just one moment.
Super.
Now, I know today's focus is the heart. Is there anything else you would like me to focus on?
Well, I have some nerve damage, neuropathy going down from my shoulders into my hands. And I think we're discovering that it's more stress related than it is anything else. So to try to work through when I have something stressful, I have severe numbness and that goes right down into my hands. So
Okay.
I don't know how to try to grapple the psychological and the physical and how the psychological is affecting the physical.
Okay. All
And
right. Well, let's take your picture first. Let me just interrupt you
sure.
for just 1 second. I want to ask you a few more questions and quick smile for the picture. Okay, fantastic. We got that. And I'm going to put the Genius up in just one moment.
Thanks.
Now, regarding the neuropathy, do you think it could be related to a neck issue or like a carpal tunnel syndrome type of a deal?
It's okay. So I have carpal tunnel. I also have thoracic outlet syndrome. I also have ulnar compression nerve. So I have a lot going on with the nerves going down into my hands, but it seems to be activated by stress more than anything else. So if I have a stressful day or something bad happens, immediately my hands go numb, my fingers go numb, and I'm trying to work out a way to um, control that stress level so that I can control the
Right. No,
pain.
no, I
Yeah.
totally understand that. And how much do you associate with when you're stressed out? And I assume this is probably part of your pondering here, with the postural changes, the neck tightness, the shoulder tightness that comes when we do feel stressed. What kind of connection have you made with that?
I used to have a lot of stress and pain in my neck and neck muscles. Went through some therapy for that. Actually, did the core box on it, which helps a great deal. And so my neck issues seem to have alleviated, but the stress in my hands, not the stress, but the neuropathy in my fingers and my hands continues. So could it still be carpal tunnel? Using my phone, but as I said, the key connection for me is something bad or stressful, traumatic happens, and this pain is I can't write, I can't hold up a piece of paper.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
severe. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. I'm going to take now, how's your overall, how would you describe your overall health and wellness?
Very, very good. I just
Good.
was notified that I have thyroid, and I believe it's more from the pituitary, only due to the Genius scan. I've had my T3, T4 done, and they're fine. but I have hypothyroid. So
Hypothyroid. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Laura, thank you so, so much for all that information. Let me let you just relax and enjoy, and we'll come back and talk
Thanks.
with you in just a little bit, okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, now I do want to let you know of an important change that's happened with the Genius that you may or may have not noticed when you're scanning. Now, for many, many trainings, if you've come to even one, you've probably heard me say that based on my clinical observation, that anything that's above 600 and anything that's below 200 is really pretty relevant for what people are experiencing. So once again, if you see anything above 600 or below 200, that probably is something you want to put into your tray, your lower main hold tray, maybe your quick zap tray. It's something that usually matches with the symptoms the person is experiencing. So over many, many years, the developer decided to sort of come back around and now has classified anything that's over 600 as red and anything that's under 200 as blue. So this is a change to what the cutoff points were previously. Like a month ago, it wouldn't have read the same. Therefore, when you're looking at your results, you may see more reds or more blues because that threshold is changed. That doesn't have to change anything you're necessarily doing, but I want you to be aware of that when you're looking at these different numbers. So as we see here, there is an awful lot of red and blue that's coming up, but I believe that's because the parameters have changed. Let's go ahead and glance at the aura and see what we can see for today in the aura. Okay, and please remember to send your questions, anything you want to know about the Genius. If you're using the Genius, is there anything you don't understand? Is there anything you need more clarification about? Please let me know in the comments, in the chat, and we will go from there. Okay, so here's the aura as we're looking at it. We've got some interesting colors. So we've got some green, we've got some brighter green, we've got some beautiful higher vibrational color there having to do with the opening of the crown chakra. And then we see the biggest challenge is always going to be what is going to change the most? And so what we're going to be able to transform the most likely is the energy in that outer ring. So the energy in the outer ring has to do with first chakra energy, stabilizing, safety, good physical health. And so something's going on there, and so we should see that shift and change, have less brown tones as we kind of go through our session. It may disappear completely. Now, what we can do is we can tap on hide the avatar, and it will hide what we're seeing on the top. So let's go see if we can do that right here and hide the avatar. And now it gives us in the center something completely different, which is this beautiful green energy. So there is a theme about the heart. There's bright green energy, there's dark green energy, and there's sort of this middle color of energy. And so let's see what we see as we begin to shift and change. As we begin to shift and change with the energy, we'll take this will be our beginning point, and then I will go ahead and give you an interpretation of the aura as it changes as we work on it. So that's our beginning point. Now let's look at some of the items within the Genius itself that are related to the heart. When you have someone with a heart condition, with heart issues, we never treat medically, but what we can do is we can play frequencies that change the energy. We work on the energetic field, and specifically as biofeedback practitioners, we work on the energetic field. Things build up in your energetic field that eventually get laid down into your physical body. We work on stress disturbances. Stress disturbances, when somebody has a heart condition, in biofeedback terms, we say they have a heart stress disturbance. We don't treat their heart condition. That is for a medical doctor. What we do is we run frequencies in order to reduce stress within the field. That's all that we say. And somebody might say, well, what impact will that have? The goal for us is stress reduction. Does stress reduction sound like something that would be beneficial for you? Yes, it does. Well, I can help you with relaxation and stress reduction. When you reduce stress, then you often get these effects. And we can explain what the effects of stress reduction are. So that's what we're really endeavoring to do. And also remember, as a biofeedback practitioner, there are certain ethical standards you should challenge yourself to rise to. And one would be not sharing any information about working with a client. You can share information with other colleagues, with other practitioners, where you anonymize that person. So I'm sure that seems very logical to most people, but if you had a client, you would never disclose that person's name anywhere. You would never show, hey, I'm working with this person. That would only be that person's privilege to do that. You can't disclose that person. It's called confidentiality. And when you're discussing a case, you want to anonymize that person's information. You say, oh, I'm working with a woman in her mid-20s and she's having really frequent, menses or something like that. What are some good frequencies that I could use? That's how we want to talk about these things with each other. I think that makes common sense, right? Okay. So now when we go to body systems within the genius, we're going to see a frequency here for circulation. So interestingly enough, that is one that's coming up for her. It says lymphatic, circulatory, and digestive. So anytime the digestive system is out of balance, it can affect every other part of the body, including the circulatory system. So perhaps we want to do a really quick balancing. We can actually take the digestive, the circulatory, and the lymphatic and just do a real quick balancing of those low blue items. Now, one of the first questions that we get from people who are doing the 14-day trial, we have some animal sounds in there. Let's just stop for a moment. We'll go to frequency, shape, and form. We were working with this last time, if you remember, and we put some nature sounds in there. Let's just do our chimes and bells for today, and we'll go with our default tone generator. Sounds a little bit more what we're used to. So you can easily pick up the red, the blue, the three lowest blue items. So people often ask when they're first using the Genius in the trial, what do the red and blue numbers mean? What do the results mean? Well, red means it's reactive and blue means it's reactive. A reactive frequency simply means that's a good frequency for you to balance today. The reds and the blues are pointing out the best personalized frequencies for you to work with today. Well, so just simply means those are the ones that should go into the tray. Now, to get a little bit more nuanced on this, the red ones can represent things that are acute, that have happened immediately, that are superficial, that are not very long lasting. And sort of as a really big generalization, the blue items can represent compressed energy, places where energy is not flowing, places where there's a deficiency, or places where there's a chronicity, or there's a chronic issue going on. So those are things that could be represented by the reds and the blues. So for me to take just the blue items, that could be very significant because your blue items, you could just focus on blue items for an entire session because they are very consequential, because they're so low, they're so compressed, because you always want energy to move, and it's a place where energy isn't moving. So that's one thing to think about when you're thinking about different strategies that you could do in your case, ways that you could shake things up, make things interesting, get better results. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that tray. And let's look at this. We said we were going to do things related to the heart. So let's grab that circulatory and put it down into the lower tray. Let's look at some other places within the program that we have things related to the heart or circulatory system. So we could go to the today's stress. Let's see what we have in today's stress. We actually have a frequency for cardiovascular. Now, so that's come up a couple of times for her. So this was a good session for her, for us to work with her. And welcome to everybody who came in a little bit late. Thank you for returning with us to Monday training. Seems to work a lot better for people. Tell your friends, we're back here Mondays, 10 o'clock. We really appreciate you joining us for the weekly training. Now, when you look at this, we do see the cardiovascular frequency. This frequency is a combination of at least 30 subfrequencies, which are not given or shown. This is something that the Genius developer pre-programmed and put into the main panels of the Genius. So there's a lot in here. It's not just one frequency, it's a combination of frequencies. So it can be pretty powerful even though it's just one frequency. So we have cardiovascular there. Let's see what else we have within the program. So we have organs, right? Let's go right to organs and see what we've got here. And so we have the heart right here. So we could take the heart and put that in there. We could also, just for fun, we could put the heart up here and just work on it on its own. And we could take out the lymphatic and digestive, but leave the circulatory there. We'll come back to that in a moment. Now, what else can we incorporate in order to work on the heart from the main part of the program? Well, we can go to sacred geometry, and let's go ahead and focus on the energy surrounding the heart, which is the toroidal field. So we can take the toroids and we can put it in the lower tray. Let's also put it in the upper tray. So what we're doing is we're focusing on creating more balance and even sort of availing ourselves to that beautiful toroidal field, that self-perpetuating energy. That is the field that is 5,000 times stronger than the field around the brain. That's that beautiful field around the heart. And you could run a pretty powerful session just using toroids, heart, and circulatory. So let's look at that for a minute. Up in the quick zap and also down in your main whole tray, you may want to bring in the energy of the solfeggios. So of course we know 528 solfeggio means this is the energy of transformation and miracles, but it's also a beautiful frequency for experiencing love. So it is a love frequency. It's a frequency to connect with your true heart, you know, to reconnect with the truth about yourself, to connect to your own heart. So 528 would be a frequency that you could add, but you could also add many of the other solfeggio frequencies, which help you to return to your own perfection. So let's see how good the rectification percentage is here. We're always looking for a rectification percentage of 40% or higher. That's going to be our goal. That's the way that the developers set it up. I do note that in other quantum biofeedback programs, it is different. It is more like 90%. Here, we're just going for 40%. That's interesting that we were not able to get to 40% in 1 minute. So when this happens, you may want to just add in other frequencies. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's add in the solfeggio tones to our quick zap. And we're going to bring up everything actually here, except for, I'm going to show you the one I'm going to eliminate. This is not technically a solfeggio. I did the wrong tray. Let's try that one more time. Let's bring up all the reds. Let's bring up all the yellows. Let's bring up all the green items. Let's bring up all of the blue items. So that should give us all the solfeggio tones. And what I do want to do, that doesn't look like everything though. So it gives us a total of 11 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's something missing. Maybe I didn't hit this hard enough. Let me just see if I did this correctly. The red items, it must have been the greens. Okay, that looks correct. Now what I want to do is I actually just want to remove 432. That's not technically a solfeggio. I'm not going to talk about it for the moment, but you do have to be aware that it is in the solfeggio tones now. It's not technically a solfeggio tone, so at times you may want to eliminate it from your tray. But now I have all the harmonics of the true solfeggio scale, and I have the toroids, and I have the heart, and I have the circulatory system. Do you see how we're creating a recipe? We're creating a formula. We're creating sort of putting together a meal, right? In your meal, you have maybe some spices and you have the ingredients and you do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Think about that's how you're formulating your tray. You know, there's an artistry to that. You know, you're putting together all the harmonics of the solfeggios. You're putting together the energy of the circulatory system. You're putting together the heart frequencies for the heart itself, and you're bringing the energy of the toroidal field. Well, that's really powerful. You know, you could really create a custom playlist just with these items, and it'd be very powerful. And you could bring this mini custom playlist. Maybe we'll do a video on that, a little short tutorial video, and provide you with the elements of this custom playlist, because this would be something you could do for every single person. almost every person that you're meeting needs some type of healing of their heart. It's unbelievable that given all that we know in the world, that still today, one of the number one killers in the Western world and in the United States, Canada, and so forth is still heart disease. And this really speaks to us as energetic practitioners. And as a naturopathic doctor, I know that it's part nutritional. I know there's a lot of misunderstanding about the foods that people are taking in that are damaging their heart, that they're not aware that damage their heart, but that's one part of it. But how many people have heartache, heartbreak, are seeking to return to a place of love within themselves? Well, that's part, when your energy, emotional energy is not flowing smoothly to your heart, that's affecting the physical activity of the heart as well. So I think there's a lot of emotional things going on, a lot of physical things going on with people's hearts, which is why they're not, firing at tip-top, shape, or tip-top, they're not in tip-top shape or functioning at their highest potential. So these are things to think about, but these are things that we can bring to bear in every session. We can bring physical energies. We can bring energies related to the physical. We can bring energies related to the emotional. We can bring energies related to the spiritual and so forth, energies related to remedies, all those things. So she did a great balancing. Now it is interesting that she had 3 different colors related to green, related to the heart. Let's go back to that aura and take a peek and see what's happened as we've been working. So let's go ahead, let's go to the aura and let's see how the aura has changed. We remove the avatar. We'll look at that in just a moment. Okay, is there a blood pressure program in the library to find what the root cause of high blood pressure or high fluctuating blood pressure? Okay, well, let's think about that for a moment. So let's go ahead and hide the avatar. So what's really interesting about this is how much the green part has actually expanded. And we've got a yellow energy in the middle. Yellow is going to be 3rd chakra. That is going to be all about power dynamics and our solar chakra, how we feel empowered in the world. We've got a lightening and a brightening of that green energy. We're bringing in now a blue energy about more communication, maybe more self-talk, more self-communication, more authentic communication to others. Got a beautiful ring, which has really lightened and brightened up and gotten bigger in that higher chakra, the 7th chakra. And then here we've moved away from the 1st chakra, but now I think we've got some detox frequencies that we need to do some detox and cleanse out the digestive system. Let's go ahead and look at this before and after. So here's number 1, here's number 2. Here's number 1, and it's interesting. So all of those green energies have gotten a lot brighter and a lot stronger. So this is all about strengthening the heart, has really happened as we've been working. And then I think as we're pushing things out, and we're changing and transforming. Now we need to do a little bit of physical cleanup with the digestive system. That's what I'm seeing from these auras, but an amazing work on the heart. That's very, very powerful. So good work, Laura, I like it. All right, so is there a blood pressure program in the library to find what the root cause of the high blood pressure or highly functioning blood pressure? That's a very interesting question. I don't know if we really took a blood pressure within the root cause. Fluctuating blood pressure. So there's so many misunderstandings about blood pressure. Blood pressure became something that the pharmaceutical companies really wanted to focus on because they can make your blood pressure be just about anything that they want to be. And if you come in, they take your blood pressure like, it's too high, let's give you a medication to lower it because that could be a risk for stroke and things like that. So they can just focus on this one number, never mind all the other things going on in the body, your emotions, something called white coat hypertension, which is where you're so nervous about meeting with the doctor that of course your heart races and your blood pressure goes up. So your blood pressure should only be taken at home to begin with. But blood pressure is related to so many things with your kidneys, things with your diet, things with your weight. It's silly to just take one medication to lower your blood pressure when there are all of these other things to be considered. we can look at some of the blood pressure libraries, which is a better maybe chance of sort of sorting that out rather than the root cause library per se. So you're better off testing the blood pressure series. We have several different blood pressure series that we've created over the years. We can take a look at them. When using just one particular library like mitochondrial rejuvenation, what is the best method to use it? For how long and how often for best effectiveness? David, that's going to be a wildly fluctuating answer to that question. One thing that you could do is it depends on why you're using the mitochondrial rejuvenation. What are you using it for would really tell us if you need to use other libraries along with it. What you could try is something that we've done in the Genius study where you could just focus on one library. We focused on several libraries. You can focus on one library like mitochondrial where you just run it for 15 minutes a day for 2 weeks and you only focus on that. The thing is that your thoughts and your intentions are always working side by side with the Genius. You should think about the Genius as being a way that you potentiate or expand the power of your thoughts and your intentions. So with that in mind, you always have to be very cognizant. What is your goal in doing this? What do you hope to achieve by doing it? Well, I want my mitochondria to be the best functioning, not subject to any of the effects of aging. I want them to be restored to their full capacity, their full optimal capacity. Well, with that in mind, I also expect to have more energy, more clear thinking, more ability to exercise, a better performance as an athlete, whatever it might be. I would write those down. And then you're doing only maybe mitochondrial rejuvenation because you have a singular focus. So it really depends on what your focus is and what you want your outcome to be. And then that might tell you, well, maybe I want to put muscles in there, or I want to put nerves in there, or I want to put the circulatory system in there because it's not complete. My goal won't be complete of achieving that unless I have some other variety of frequencies. Based on the input, what I've given you is some thoughts. You can let me know if you have other questions about that. All right, well, let's look at blood pressure for a moment here. Now, Laura didn't say she had any issues with blood pressure, but let's just look at it based on Justina's question, and we'll just run a little bit long here, a couple of minutes. So we have this one, which is this one right here, starts off with blood pressure, nutrition focus, vessels open, kidney wellness and fluid optimization, detox heavy metals, emotions, and heart wellness. So this series right here, if you just look up blood pressure on the geniusbiofeedback.com, you can see which one this is. And what this does is it goes through a series like, is the nutrition correct? Let's look at that first. Nutrition focus. Okay. So it gives you things that might be helpful for the nutrition or remedies for the heart. And then we take up the blue items here. So these are all of the remedies in the nutrition that would be helpful, for blood pressure. And then the next one is, what are the minerals that are needed by the body? So transdermal magnesium, that's one that you apply like you sit in a magnesium bath or a magnesium soak. Kale, potassium broth, potassium citrate malate, magnesium taurate, all of these things would be good that would supply minerals for the heart in order to lower or better regulate blood pressure. Now, your kidneys are a big regulator of fluid in your body, and how much fluid you keep in your body is related to how high the blood pressure is, because the more volume there is, the more that it creates something called peripheral resistance, and this tends to elevate the blood pressure. So now let's look at kidneys. Whoa, that's really interesting that these are all either red or blue. There's no yellow or green here. Kidney nutrition lacking, that's interesting. Well, usually that's like potassium or some nutritives for the kidneys, maybe even just some kidney herbs might bring in some nutritives for the kidney. That's interesting that it's so low. And then number 4, oops, I think I went to the wrong one there. I meant to go here, kidney fluid and wellness. So we have 2 that are kind of similar. And then this is related to the kidneys as well. And then number 4, detox heavy metals. So heavy metals can also affect the kidneys. Whey protein, coriander essential oil, magnesium again, I easily release toxins from my kidneys. So when heavy metals like chromium or mercury get into the kidneys, this can affect the kidneys in an adverse way. And then let's see what some of the blue items are. Unentangled insights. Let's go ahead and, I wish it wouldn't show it again, but it always does. Okay, so then we go down here. So we've got all of these blue items here. Then number 5, emotions that could be affecting the blood pressure. And then number 6 is heart wellness. So these are things that would help the heart. So what we're doing is we're working in a frequency direction of all the things that are related to blood pressure that would be frequencies that would help to balance blood pressure better. Well, that's an interesting one that comes up here. Everything has happened exactly as it has needed to happen. That's an interesting thing to think about, and that can heal many, many maladies, maladies of thought. So 432 hertz, Shanka Piedra, that is for kidney stones. Feeling grateful, connecting relationships, I allow change, the tricuspid valve, selenium, anguish release, sacred mountain, essential oil, joy, Kali carbonicum, nickel clear nickel, 652 or 852 hertz, clear plaquing on the microvasculature. Well, it's interesting, you know, we discovered this whole other area for Laura, which is based on kidney health and kidney wellness, which could be really, really powerful, but we didn't even think about that for the neuropathy, but maybe it has some type of relationship because of the restrictions on circulation. Well, we found that out because Justina asked that question, but Laura, let's find out if you have any impression or any thoughts on what came up for you today.
I have been looking at my kidney health and my heart valve health. I had a diagnosed with a mitral valve prolapse years and years ago. For the past over a year, I've been running the frequencies for mitral valve prolapse. And when I went back to my doctor this past time, she said, I don't hear a prolapse. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's amazing.
That is
amazing.
And my next thought is my kidneys. My mom had kidney disease, had nephritis, had a kidney removed. I'm wondering if I'm heading towards that direction. So I think my health is where I've got to, you know, as you said, potassium.
You know, it can purely be on the functional level. It doesn't have to be anything that approaches pathological, but just the degree of a little bit of imbalance that may be affecting other things, you know, fluid retention or the heart. So, but how wonderful. I think you're making really amazing leaps and bounds in the work that you're doing for yourself and the work that you're doing for other people. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I fired my doctors. I fired my insurance company. I got the genius, the core box, the wand, who we now call Corey and Wanda in the house. Can I use Wanda? So through all these
call the core box Corey and the wand Wanda.
Yeah.
Corey and Wanda around. I need their help right now.
All the time. Put me in
that
the
is hilarious. Yeah. That's so awesome.
All of the things from this genius have really become part of our lives. So it's really been wonderful.
Laura, thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for volunteering today. I really, really appreciate it. Now, do you have a Quanta capsule that you keep for yourself?
My Quanta capsule seems to be broken.
Okay.
Between Ryan and I don't know how to get
all right, why don't you shoot me a message today to catch me up on where that's at so that I can see if I can help you to restore that Quanta capsule and go from there. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, very cool, very cool. I love that her experience of I fired my doctor, I fired my insurance company, I got the genius, I started working. Like, there's a lot there that's really about self-responsibility and accountability. And I think that's the biggest predictor sometimes of outcomes. But I'm so grateful that the genius could be a part of her transformation. That's really, really cool and really exciting. Very, very awesome. Well, let's see, when we ran those kidney frequencies, what was the result for the aura? What changed on the aura today? Let's go ahead and see what we've got. We do have a newsletter coming out today. We're going to tell you all about our research study. We're going to tell you where it is, where it's happening, what we talked about today. We're going to invite you to our Genius in-person class. We're going to be giving you more information about the platinum practitioner level so that you can educate your clients. And I really want you to have the most amazing outcomes in the next coming months. I want you to have miracle cures. That's what I'm shooting for in my education to you, is I want you to have absolutely incredible outcomes. And I'm going to be giving you some information to invite your clients to become part of your private membership association in our new platinum level training. So you can kind of talk about whatever you want to with your client and people that you're working with. Now, isn't this fascinating? After we worked on kidney, everything on the outer ring related to digestion, that brown, that yellow, it all cleared up. We're going to review them. Then all the rings of the heart came together. They're almost like completely merged now. And now we just have the purple, which is going to be the third eye opening, which is so interesting, sort of about your own, related to personal power as well. Let's go ahead and hide the avatar again. Now we do have this interesting change in the middle. It's almost just like a neutral position. There's almost no color to talk about. And then we have all of that heart energy, and then a slight ring. It almost looks like a ring around a planet, which is the color yellow, which is about that empowerment. So this is a beautiful ending aura for our work today. Let's go ahead and just look at the 3 auras that we had during, oh goodness me. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go back here. This was number 1. This was number 2. And now number 3. It's interesting how it became more simplified. Let's go back here. It became more simplified. It became like sort of everything, I think, is falling more into balance, falling more into line. That's a very, very interesting ending aura. All right. The core box is our box for our terahertz. So if you go to geniusbiofeedback.com, look at some of the terahertz videos that we have. We have a wand, we have a box. There's many offerings for people to get terahertz technology. Well, do remember to sign up for our in-person training and come back here next Monday. We'll be here every Monday at 10 o'clock. Also, business members, I'll see you on Wednesday, where we'll continue to talk about managing your quantum capsule system and getting better results in your practice. We'll see you all really, really soon. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye for now.